Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Thank you as always for your tweets. Shaka, Stevie and Robbo with us. Lots of tweets about the handball in the Palace-Everton game today. Can anyone explain the actual handball rule now? Did it remove all incidental contact? Will teams be aiming at the hands, arms, if they're not against the body? What do you think, Stevie? You were the only one who thought it was a penalty.
I mean, listen, we've been arguing about penalties forever. You know, there used to be a supposed, well, if you didn't mean it, it didn't count, which I thought was nonsense at the time. Now you've got talk of your natural body position, and if it's a natural position and it hits it, it's not. So the honest truth is, the handball rule is so complex and so hard to figure out what is right and what's wrong that we all kind of disagree on different penalty kicks. I certainly disagree with Xhaka and Robbo because they thought it wasn't a penalty. I thought it was a penalty. His hand was away from his body and it hit him in the arm, whether he meant it or not. So the truth is, it'd be difficult to find one person who can say, right, this is the rule, and that's it. Because there probably isn't one.
How do you fix it, Robbo?
With difficulty, because I was watching the game in England, and when the handball happened, they brought up all the laws of the game about handball, and the commentators who were doing the game, they didn't understand it. I don't think anybody that was watching the game on TV understood what it meant. That's a major problem. You can't just say, I don't think you can rectify it by saying if it hits somebody on the hand, it's a penalty or it's handball, no matter what, because I don't think that's fair on defenders. I personally didn't think it was a handball. I think it almost has to be arm to ball, and I don't think that was. That was ball to arm. So I wouldn't have given a penalty, but I'm not sure how you change it.
Shaka, is this why you got sacked from IFAB, because of your anger against the handball rule?
No, that's not why I got sacked. I got sacked for a number of other things, but not this one.
Expenses.
In all honesty,
it's always expensive with Xhaka.
Oh, just leave me alone, Robbo. Handball is something we'll probably be arguing about for quite some time, because I'm not sure that there is a fix to it, as you put it, Dan, because there's so many different moving parts and how far away and how quickly the ball came, that no matter what language you use in crafting this law, there's going to be these incidents that you have all this disagreement about. I think this is just one that was just right on the cusp, and 50% of people will say handball, 50% will say no. More often than not, it's a little bit more clear-cut one way or the other. But you have to accept that will always be a sizable grey area.
Robbo, would this Chelsea squad have a better chance of winning? I knew you were going to interrupt. I knew you were going to. Go on, Stevie.
Oh, you're in a hurry or something? No, just the last bit of the question about. I've heard people saying this. Well, players are going to start hitting the ball at people's hands. I mean, absolute nonsense. What a lot of rubbish. Players are not going to just start kicking the ball at somebody's arm. I'm not buying that whatsoever.
Why not, Stevie?
Well, particularly the Premier League, the pace of the game. You're too busy trying to do your stuff. You're not going to all of a sudden. You're going at somebody and go, oh, hold on a second. I know what I'll do. I'll kick this at his hand. I mean, really?
Do you agree, Robbo?
Not entirely, because I usually agree with Steve with everything, but obviously handball is something we have an issue with. I would say that now players, if they take the ball to the side and try and whip it, rather than play it along the ground, make sure you hit it at hand height, and if it hits them on the hand, they've got every chance of getting a penalty. So I think players, they won't be trying to hit the hand, but they'll play a percentage ball, but if it hits his hand, I've got a penalty out of it. So that's the sort of crosses people will start to play in. So they hit them off the ground, so they're just around about waist high. With the player having his hand down by his side, I'll get a penalty if it's not a good cross.
Can't believe you disagree with me there, Robbo.
Well, I'll give you another sport, field hockey. They get a penalty corner if they hit somebody on the foot. They run into the box and they actually aim at people's feet, so they get a penalty corner. That's exactly what they do.
Yes, Stevie, field hockey.
Oh, yeah, all right. I bow down then. You've got me.
They don't play that in Scotland, do they?
Oh dear. Robbo's private school ways shining through once again.
We use in Scotland. We use the sticks for hitting people, not trying to get free kicks.
Robbo, would this Chelsea squad have a better chance of winning the Premier League with a more experienced manager than Frank Lampard?
Not at the moment. I think you've got to give him a bit of time. I think he's made some good signings, but now he's got the problem where to fit them in the side. And he's already changed 2 or 3 times, and I think the inexperience of him is going from one team to the next, looking for the right formula. He's got to have in his mind what the right formula is, stick with it for a while, and then after 6 or 7 games, if it's not quite working, just tinker with it. If he changes from one week to the next, changes all the personnel, changes the formation, he will have problems come 6, 7 games into the season. But to answer your question, at the moment, I think he's a decent coach and a decent manager. He's a good man manager by the sounds of it. So I wouldn't say that an experienced manager coming in now would make Chelsea better.
How excited is Stevie for the Merseyside derby after the break? Is this the best level of play seen from both sides in a meeting for the last 10 to 15 years?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Listen, I remember, I think because of this pandemic, we lost track of time. I think it was probably about 18 months ago that Liverpool played Everton at Anfield. I think it was like 5-0 or 5-1 or something. And it was absolute men against boys. I couldn't believe how easy it was and how bad Everton were. And I remember thinking, how is this team ever going to get anywhere close to being what they were, certainly in the 80s? But I tell you what, on today's performance, they've got something they haven't had. And in recent times, they've had some decent play going forward, but couldn't defend. And they've had some good defences, but couldn't really do much to hurt you going forward. Well, today, they did everything. Defensively, I thought they looked really solid, because Crystal Palace can hurt you. And then, of course, they can hurt you going forward. Richarlison works his socks off. Calvert-Lewin, who I'm not so sure is a definite Premier League centre-forward, but he's getting goals. But then the middle of the park is so good that they're supplying the likes of Calvert-Lewin. So, I mean, what a first goal they scored today. Beautiful passing, great movement, and a nice finish. So, absolutely I'm concerned, because this Everton side's a proper team now. They look like a team.
October 17th, that tie will be. Xhaka, have you been in a team like Schalke or experienced something where they can't buy a goal, let alone a win? Well, Schalke did score today. But of course, they haven't won a game since January. Xhaka, have you been involved with a side like that?
Not that bad. Not that kind of form. And not consistently. When I was at Pompey, we couldn't win on the road at all. I don't think we got any points on the road until deep into the second half of the season. But we were good at home. But not what you've seen from Schalke. I haven't been a part of any kind of team like that.
Robbo, any field hockey teams that struggle to get any points?
I'm surprised Xhaka said that. He played for the Hapless Hammers. There must have been a run of 15, 16 games where West Ham didn't win a game. They always win a run after Christmas. I'll have you know, West Ham always went down with the Christmas decorations.
We finished 5th, 98-99. I'll have you know, Stuart.
Very, very well done. Very well done.
Carry on.
Which manager was the worst motivator in the dressing room for you, Robbo?
For me, it was a chap called Bobby Gould, who I just didn't see eye to eye with. The minute he walked in, I knew there was going to be problems, and I probably did everything to upset him, and he did everything to upset me. So it wasn't a relationship that lasted that long. So, yeah, he was the worst one for me, Bobby Gould.
Stevie? Are we going Scotland, international level?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. no names. No names.
You're good friends?
I'll tell you what, shout out a few names and I'll go like
that. I forgot, you got Craig Brown, Stevie. Oh. And I've forgotten the one before Craig Brown. Who was the manager before Craig Brown, Robert, for Scotland?
I'm trying to think of his name. He was the head of Largs for a while. He was head of the Scottish FA. He then became the manager. What was his name? Come on, Stevie.
Come on, Stevie.
Stevie knows.
You know his name. Come on.
Of course he does.
Of course I know his name.
You told me he was the worst manager, worst coach you've ever played under.
That's not true. I didn't say that.
Ah, Robbo stirring the pot again.
Well, are you going to play this game or not? Or are you going to go and play field hockey?
I'm going to go Andy.
Anyway.
Andy Roxburgh.
Andy Roxburgh.
Actually, to be fair, I'm not being funny though, but it couldn't have been easy following Jock Stein and Alec Ferguson. So
Steve,
I'll give them that.
You're getting mellow in your old age.
Yeah.
Well,
Robbo, if Arsenal sign Aouar, can they finish in the top 4?
They can finish in the top 4 if we don't see anything better from Chelsea and Manchester United at the moment, because Arsenal are playing well. They've got a 100% record. They're doing well in the cups. They look a better team under the new manager, Arteta. Aouar would be an excellent addition because I think he's a very good footballer. They can end up in the top 4, but I think they'll be reliant on both Chelsea and Manchester United having a poor season.
For Stevie, do you think Sadio Mane has or will overtake John Barnes on the left-hand side, Liverpool's greatest ever team? A few pundits were debating this recently. Be good to know your opinion.
ooh. Oh, well, I'll tell you what, he's got to do it for another couple of seasons.
Yeah.
You know, Barnsley was at a level for about 5 years where he was just unplayable. So if Mane can do it for another couple of years, then absolutely. But I mean, it is a good argument. Mane has been absolutely sensational, and Barnsley was sensational.
What do you think, Robbo? You must have played against John Barnes.
I did play against John Barnes on several occasions. He was an outstanding player, and I think when he had that relationship with Beardsley, I thought they were unplayable at times for Liverpool. So I think Mane's got a little bit of work to go to be as good as John Barnes. He was brilliant for both Watford and Liverpool.
Shaka, you got some good John Barnes stories, but maybe now's not the time to share them. Lamptey or Reece James? Who are we going for? Lamptey, of course, looked good, hasn't he, since the start of the season. Robbo?
I'm going to go for Reece James. It's early days for Lamptey. I think it looks like an exceptional talent. He looks like he's got lots of pace. He can come in field with the ball. But I think he's just having a really good time at the moment. I think people will start to get used to how he's going to play. So I would say Reece James although he didn't play well today, I think he's a good player and he will get better. At the moment, he's the better right back.
Shaka, after today, who are you more worried about, United or Chelsea?
I'm more worried about United, in all honesty. I think certainly Chelsea have more than enough firepower in midfield. Their errors are individual, and I think once you cut those out, you'll see a better Chelsea. United's issues are tactical and team-wide, so I'm more concerned for United.
Stevie?
Yeah, United. I would say so. Yeah. I'm a real worry for Chelsea is that back line. For Manchester United, I'm kind of worried about most things, other than the fact that they've got individuals who can produce a bit of brilliance, like Rashford did today. But as a unit, yeah, it's a little worrying for United.
Based on everyone's wardrobe on the ESPN FC crew, who would you want to swap shirts with after a show? Would Robbo's shirt be too tight, Shaka's shirt too baggy, and there must be shepherd's pie stains on Stevie's shirts?
This is a question for you, Dan, I'm assuming, then?
I don't believe so, no. I think it's just for everybody.
Well, I can assure you, there's no chance of me staining my shirts, because I don't miss any shepherd's pie. Every single bit of it goes straight in my mouth.
And
So
for those of us who've seen Stevie eat in ESPN, he has this big napkin and he drips all over himself. It's like a 4-year-old.
Most people bring the food to their mouth. Stevie puts his mouth down to the food.
Like a trough.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. No, I'd certainly go with Shaka's shirt. I'd go nowhere near Stevie's.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.